So we want to set up a virtual machine that has Ubuntu within our Microsoft Windows uh, operating system. To do that, we would need a tool like VirtualBox. Now, some prerequisites. We want to enable virtualization. If this is a desktop, and we could go to the BIOS settings, we could enable Intel virtualization tool or whatever it is, AMD virtualization tool, and we also have something called Hyper-V in Windows, which is a virtualization tool within Windows, and we could turn it off through Windows settings and turn off Windows features on and off. Add and remove them. We download VirtualBox for our operating system. In this case, we have a Windows, but if this was a Mac, we could use the Mac operating system, version. Or if we want to have VirtualBox on Linux and host another operating system, let's say Windows, we would use that. Okay, so I already downloaded VirtualBox and installed it. In Ubuntu, we would need an Ubuntu installation. Ubuntu is available for free. You could download the latest from ubuntu.com, or we could also download the previous version, 14 or 12. Those would work too. Now, this is the Oracle VM VirtualBox. We'll click here, and we will create a new virtual machine. It's the virtual machine in this case is like a physical machine, but it's in software, so it's virtualized. And I'm going to call this Ubuntu VM-1, and it's Linux 64. Make sure you match the version of Ubuntu that you downloaded. I downloaded Ubuntu 64-bit version, and therefore I'm going to install the 64. Sorry, I downloaded the 64-bit version, and therefore I'm going to install that. Now, remember, we're kind of like building a physical machine, so let's attach some RAM to it, memory. I have whopping 64 gigabyte in this computer, but I noticed that there are issues with supporting more than 3.5 gigs on virtual machines, so I'm going to just make it 2 gigs only, because that's enough for me. And I'll have virtual. Now we created 2 gigs memory. We will reserve it from within the physical RAM memory that is on this computer. So 2 gigs will be reserved for this application as it runs within VirtualBox. And we need to also create a hard drive. So I'll create a virtual hard drive. I can choose an existing one if I have an existing one from previous installations, but that would override it if we need to write over it. So I'll create, and I'll choose this version, this file format. And I'm going to say dynamically allocate, meaning that the file size. So we will create a big file on the hard drive in this computer, on this Windows computer. And then as we add things to it, it will grow in size. But we need to set a limit to that file. So I'm going to limit it to 20 gigs. And I want to make sure that I'm putting it in a drive where I don't have limited space. So my big drive, my D, has 5 terabyte, and I store my machines right here in VM drives. This looks good. Let's go for it and create it. And now we have a computer with RAM and with a hard drive attached to it, and this is the boot order for this machine. So I think we could change these. It has 2 gigabyte of RAM, 16 megabyte video memory. We might want to change that. We could change it. And it has an optical drive that is empty, so I can click here and insert an optical drive, and I'll choose a disk image, and I'll choose Ubuntu 14. And now the optical drive have that. It's like inserting a CD in the optical drive. We'll use the audio for this machine. We'll use the networking adapter. We could set many things. I mean, we could go further and increase the memory RAM later, and we could change the graphics. So I have 2 gigs graphics card, so I'll use 128 megabyte. That's plenty. And over here, the storage, this is the hard drive we created in the process. You can see its actual size is only 2 megabytes. So as we add things to it, as we install Ubuntu, it will grow in size. And this is the image. So ISO file are really an image of an actual CD. So, you know, just a format, convenient format where we store files, a CD image to it. So I could just, it acts as if it was a virtual CD-ROM or DVD-ROM attached. And so many things. USB, we might want to play here. We can add some controllers. So I could add my Western Digital external or whatever USB device that is attached to this computer, Windows. I could have it usable in the computer that is hosting. Also shared folder. Anyways, I'll just go through the process of installing. Now that we have this CD, this DVD image installed in the Ubuntu, so it's there, it's in the drive. Let's run this and see what happened. So this is a computer, and we're just starting a computer, turning power on, and it will boot Ubuntu. And it boots Ubuntu. Ask me pointer integration. So when you click here, it will absorb it. As you can see, I can move it. Yeah. So the virtual machine reports that the guests support. This means that you do not need to capture the mouse pointer to be able to use it in your guest. So as you can see here, I can probably, yeah, see. So it's fluid. This is in Windows operating system, and this is on Ubuntu. Let's go ahead and just click install. And yep, we created more than 6.7. And I'll download updates. I'll just skip on that, or maybe I'll just do it. It's not that big a deal. And continue. Erase entire thing. Now let me just go something else. This is how you would install Ubuntu in an actual computer. I just want to show that we have one drive that is 21 gigabytes, about 20, which is what I created. That's a virtual box. And this, whatever I do here, does not affect my computer, the Windows computer, except for that one file under which we have our, which represents the physical hard drive. I'm just going to go the simple way and just erase everything and install Ubuntu. So we go ahead. And it tells me this is what's going to happen, and I tell him yes. So now Ubuntu will be installed. Set my time. I'm in Eastern time zone. Yes, yes, yes. English US. Yeah, don't choose English UK. That's confusing. Let me call it VM user, and log in automatically. As a password, I'll just do A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4. And A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4. Not a recommended password. It's just that I don't want to, you know. And now it's installing. Now it's installing Ubuntu 14 and also updating it on the fly. This process might take a while, but towards the end, we'll be able to just run Ubuntu as if it was like a Windows application. We run VirtualBox and we start our virtual machine, and we'll have Ubuntu environment going on, and you know, we can run it. And the good thing about this is that Ubuntu is free, VirtualBox is free, and they've been there for a while, so they're very reliable. It used to be that you needed something like VMware, which is like a proprietary paid service. And I mean, you probably have something called VM Player, which plays and runs virtual machine, but does not allow creating a virtual machine. So this is a nice, good tool that allow us to create virtual machine and run them and play with them. So it's done. So we'll just restart, and it may ask me to eject the drive. I'm mounting temporary file system, the CD drive, because if I run it again, it might try to boot from the CD again, or maybe it does it automatically. So here, Remove disk from virtual drive. I think it's already removed for me. And yeah, it says remove installation media and close the tray, if any, then press enter. So let me press enter because I removed it. And if everything gone all right, we have Ubuntu running. Very ugly. That's very small. If I press, if I go full screen, it's not really that full screen. So I'm gonna go here and go display, and change the screen resolution to something more respectful. I cannot, and reason for that, it doesn't know how to do that. We need to install guest plugins, sorry. So there will be an option here in VirtualBox, and let me no, I don't want to close it. I just want to go out of the full screen mode, devices, optical, and yes, insert guest edition CD image. That's what we want. Let's insert that. It's inserted here. It's like we're putting the CD. Now within Ubuntu, it's telling me yada 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 yada. Do you want to do that? I'm just gonna put run. It was A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4, and authenticate, and it's install guest add-ons, and those allow me to have the screen resolution that I want. So building guest additions kernel module. So this is a good thing that VirtualBox gives you, because you could improve the screen resolution, how it looks like. And we're just waiting on it and waiting on it. And you may need to restart the window system or just restart the guest system to enable the guest additions. Okay. So anything happen? I don't know. Let's before I restart, let me check display. I want to make sure if I need to restart or not. Yeah, I think I might need to restart. And over here we have this telling me software updater. Do you want to update software? A lot of things. I don't want to do that now or ever, maybe. But I'll restart. Shut down and restart. While I'm at it. Okay, now we're starting Ubuntu again, and hopefully with support to this better screen resolution, because I cannot work with a small area. All right, looks much better now. It's bigger, better. All right, a new version of Ubuntu, ask me later. I don't want to do that now. We can go view, full screen mode, switch. And now we have a full screen Ubuntu running on top of our Windows system. We can go terminal. And as you can see, this is our terminal, listing my files. And do I have, yeah, GCC is installed. Maybe Python is not. Python is installed. So there are tools that I could use out of the box. It's ready. Yeah, but we'll go through how to use this. This you can use this for things that require Ubuntu or that are not only available for Unix or Linux. So this is a very good, neat tool you use as a virtual machine. Let's say I'm done working. Make sure you save your files, and then I could actually minimize this and go back to my Windows, do stuff, and go back to Ubuntu. I can move it around, stuff like that. Okay. Yeah, so I'll just power it off like this. Shut down, and it identifies that we have shut down the machine, so it will close it. And that's it. That's a very good way to deal with Ubuntu as a virtual machine. So let us try to change settings of our virtual machine. So let's add RAM. Let's go to what do you call it? Storage. I don't want the guest login here, so I'll just remove that now. I installed it, so yeah, I already. Oh no, I think I can add it later. Who cares? I had a problem supporting memory more than greater than 3, so I'll see if that works with me now. Display, I have 128. Capture, enable view capture. I don't want to do that. That would be slow. I can enable 3D acceleration. And yeah, so only thing I did here, I could use like a more advanced. So it says here a problem because USB 2 is currently enabled for this virtual machine. However, this requires the Oracle VM virtual extension pack. So we could download this virtual extension pack from Ubuntu if we need to add this more features like support for USB 3 within it. Serial port, network. Yeah. Now let's try to start this machine with more memory. So now it's starting. This is now my virtual machine has was it 8 gigabytes of RAM in it, and is it crashing? It's not crashing. It's starting. We're good. Boom, full screen, and yeah. Ask me later. And this is it running nicely and greatly. So that's one thing we can add. I mean, we could play with the settings more if we want to, but that's what I wanted to present here.